Hi everyone, and welcome to my Leapfrog Lenormarch series. Yes, I'm doing 3 days in a row in a very condensed manner. I recorded them all separately and have had quite a few issues of late with files and also the internet, which I think is the primary problem. It's been a little bit scratchy. Anywho, I thought rather than go through and edit these 3 files, I'm just going to do a quick rundown because they're now well, not obsolete, but they're a little outdated. So why not just join them all together and we'll see how we go. So, numbers 13 and 14, the child and the fox. With the child, I see it as, yes, something new, something fresh, a new beginning. Looking at something through fresh eyes or through new eyes, as they say. Sometimes this can pertain to innocence and play and even immaturity or naivety, depending on the question that you're asking or the person concerned. But all in all, I just look at the child as something now that starts small and grows from there. With the fox, yeah, that was one of the big cards for me, an ambivalent card, as I wrote on my notepad when I first was introduced to it. And I think that was because of the introduction of the French and German philosophies early in the piece for me. I do think of the animal. I understand why people say, you know, stealth and intelligence and mischievous and innovative and clever and maybe even cunning and sly and swift. You know, he has his own agenda and all that kind of stuff. Yep, foxes are very, very clever, and I actually love foxes, and I kind of get sad when they get a bad rap. So I think sometimes this card might also get a bad rap. Having said that, I have in my notes that I made up a little folder some time ago, Not What It Seems, which is quite similar to what Kelly said in her vid. You know, something or someone is wearing a mask. It could be a false friend or, yeah, something just is not as it seems. And also I put not getting the whole truth over a matter. So you can still see where the lies and deceit comes from. But I guess I'd just like to broaden my horizons on that and look at it as it could be a situation. Maybe I need to be shrewd about it, and I guess it can be a bit of a warning that look out, something may have gone wrong or something may go wrong. It may be false or it may be a trap. So be clever about the situation. And so that makes sense to me. And then, of course, some people look at it as a job. I learned that this can be more like your 9-to-5 job, and the anchor is career. And I could understand that because in astrology we have a similar thing. But as time goes on, I feel like just looking at it the same way as Kelly described. I'm just going to... Oh, sorry about the wobbles. I wrote down what Kelly said. She said, yeah, something isn't right. It's just not quite gelling. That's not a word, is it? Gelling. And she said, yeah, need to be street smart, which I really think is a good analogy of the fox. And she mentioned coming at something sideways. And I think I've got on in my notes something like, yeah, look at it from a fresh new angle or from all angles. So that makes more sense to me. But I guess if you wanted to, you could do a job read. But it's about the job at hand, not necessarily your 9-to-5 job. So that's sort of the way I look at the fox. It's about the job at hand. It's what is the focus at the moment. And if it comes up, something, you know, isn't necessarily as it seems, which is fabulous. Also, I think it was Hex Claire that said that, you know, you can look at it also as whatever card sits on this side, this is the false area here. Something's up with this card here, but the one on this side is fine. So that's open and honest and as it should be. So that's just another philosophy with the fox. Oh, I'd better look at the question. I'm sorry, I'm doing a very shaky job. By the way, I just did a vid face to camera on my laptop thinking, look, it might be nice just to say hello rather than hiding behind it. And I thought the quality was terrible. So would you believe this is my 3rd attempt Now the question. While often the fox is seen as being sneaky in that hen house, sometimes he's just about seeing things from a new perspective. How do you see Lenormart as letting you come at a situation from a new perspective? That's right. Would you believe my laptop's actually behind me? So I almost cut off my wind supply, my air supply, just to be able to read that question. How ridiculous. If I sound tired, it's because I am, and I think I'm losing the plot. Anyhow, yes, I did have a think about that. How is the Lenormart system different to tarot for me, or how does it enable me to approach things from a different perspective? I think Kelly nailed it by saying it's just a quick, decisive answer. It's like when you're a little kid, you ask Mum, can I go up to the local shops? And she says, no, you can't. And that's it. And so I see the tarot as a journey whereby you can just allow yourself to sink into the artwork. You can soak up the symbology. And, there's lots of tiny little hints that can be in the artwork. There's so much independent artwork out there now, which is extraordinary. And it can take you on yet another journey again. Same with Oracle. The artwork is just to die for. But even though the artwork is beautiful on the Lenormart, it's not what it's about. A fox is a fox, a child is a child. And I understand that's why most people don't want the artwork in the Lenormart to be too busy. So you can just get straight to the point. Whereas, you have these incredible dreamy journeys in the tarot, or you have simple. It's both. It's either. You can just take it as far as you want. Something else that came to mind, but this is probably more technical, is that, you don't use reversals in the Lenormart system. Not that I'm a reversals person per se in tarot, but I just thought that was an interesting difference. There are many variations in tarot, but more of a streamlined philosophy with regards to the Lenormart. And I feel that there is a reason for that. And again, it's so you can just get that. We don't want shades and nuances of meaning here. We want just straight down the line. So for people like me that can just get caught up in the artwork and float around for the next 6 years, I feel like this Lenormart is really, really good for me. It's a challenge as well, by the way, but it's good. And on a technical note as well, I always think too, these guys are designed, if you like, to work in pairs, whereas it's not necessarily the philosophy with tarot. I mean, you can do a 2-card spread or a 3 or a 1 or whatever, but these guys are designed to work together in pairs from what I understand. So that's a little bit different as well. But personally, I guess the answer would be, yeah, you want a short, sharp answer. You want to know. It's kind of like a very good predictive tool, which is not a word I use often. But it seems to me that the Lenormart, if there's any destiny involved, these cards are going to pick up on it very, very swiftly and efficiently, just like the fox. So that's that. Moving on. Sorry, just trying not to waste any time. The bear and the stars. So with regards to the bear, I do remember reading there's Mama Bear. So for some people, they look at the bear as the mother, or that Mama Bear kind of protective energy. But of course, it can also be a person in a position of power, like a CEO, whether it be male or female. In relationship, it can be somebody who generally a guy, someone who may come across as a little bit gruff. They may be, broad-shouldered. Oh my God, sorry. The bear may be broad-shouldered. They could even be a little bit of a bully under certain circumstances. But really, it's about that sort of, dominance, someone with courage or courage itself, someone who's quite stable. It can depict like the boss, the supervisor, the executive, maybe the matriarch or the patriarch because of that Mama Bear thing. I've seen it pertain to business itself, cash flow, windfall, stocks and bonds, all that kind of stuff. And I always remember too, way back in the early days for me, reading about the bear in relationship spread can be a guy who is, you know, passionate. Sorry, not so much passionate, pardon me. He's very stable in the relationship and he really does care. You know, he may love his partner very much. He's there for the long haul, but he's not necessarily tactile and he doesn't so much speak of his emotions. He might find it a little bit hard to share his emotions. But again, that's if you want to go, you know, right down into a particular spread. But other than that, I just think power, control, authority, defending its territory, strength, courage, big and burly, and certainly an authority figure. Oh, one more thing. I did also read, which I just thought was interesting. Again, if you are using this card in a health spread or if it comes up with the tree, it may have something to do with somebody who has weight issues or an eating disorder. I just thought that was interesting. Now, the stars, a beautiful card. Inspiration, aspirations, ambition. You know, it's like destiny. And the stars say, you know, look up to the stars. We're going to show you where you're meant to be. It can, I guess, mean dreams come true a little bit like, you know, or making a wish a little bit like the stars in tarot. But all in all, you get that sense of something spreading out. And that's why I can understand why networking and the internet comes under the banner of the stars if you're doing something quite like now and modern. Current is the word, not modern. So, yeah, internet, sending out newsletters and emails. It's not the newsletter itself, it's that spreading. What else? There is many of them. So, again, it's not about getting caught up in the details. It's about looking further afield. You know, where are you headed? It's more like a destiny kind of card. It might be saying, you know, this particular thing is fated to you. I think it was, by the way, Mr. Luna, if you were watching, you mentioned also the internet. And I think it was Michael. Is it Dietrich? Oh, I feel really bad when I can't remember people's names. I think it's Michael Dietrich. Yes, he mentioned that it pertains to the internet, and that's where I got it from. So the question with regards to the bear and the stars, here she goes, turning backwards again. Ah! Oh no. Talk about what these two cards mean and then answer the question. Who is the one person that had the most influence on helping you move towards your destiny? Again, Mr. Luna answered the question on my behalf, I think. It's like he read my mind. I could not say, oh, look, there's one person in particular that really sort of sent me on my path of destiny, especially when you're the person in the family that's kind of like thinking outside the square. You know, I don't know if I want to say I'm the black sheep of the family, but I'm certainly the quirky one. So I guess some would call it that. But I will say, so I wanted different things. I wasn't happy just to live in my hometown. I wanted to go, you know, and live in the big city. I wanted to travel, and I still do love to travel. And I think that's something that really did have a profound effect on me. And that came from my nonno, my Italian grandfather, and also his son, my uncle, and they used to travel, my uncle and his wife, and my nonno respectively, every year. And when I was a little girl, my nonno would bring me back a doll from different countries, and in those days, you used to get the doll in the traditional dress, if you want to call it that. Like I had a little girl with a tartan skirt on, and a little Eskimo, you know, with fur. And I'm anti-fur, by the way, but yes, you know, like a little kind of fur thingy. And, I remember having a doll from Italy that spoke Italian and a doll from Thailand, you know, in the beautiful traditional dress as well. And I was astounded. I thought, my goodness me, what is this all about? It was amazing to me. And I promised myself when I was very young that I would travel. And I think that the result of traveling has expanded my horizons into so many different areas of life, like my philosophy as well as what I actually do. So I thank them for that. Even as a kid, I was interested. I don't know. I think some of it must be just ingrained, because as a kid, I was so interested in geography and different cultures, even when I was, quite young at school. But I'm sure I am so tired. I'm really sorry. I hardly slept last night and I cannot even speak. But if I don't do this now, I may as well just forget it. So I'm going to battle on. So yes, they really had a huge effect. But of course, similarly to what Mr. Luna said, of course, there are many people that come into your life along the way, and, you can't help but feel inspired by what they do. And as a result of that, it sure can change the direction of your life. But I just knew I wanted to do things differently right from the get-go. Just the normal, stay in your hometown, save lots of money, build a house with a picket fence, blah, blah, blah. I always felt like if I did that when I was a young person, I would have ended up divorcing. Because I could just feel how restless I was, and I just needed to explore. That's me. I'm an explorer. So that's that. The stars have a lot of meaning to me. And the last two in this little series, the stork and the dog. So the stork to me talks about change, relocation, like a transition or an evolution, a migration, things like that. Vacation, it could be. Some say it can be air travel. Oh, yeah, of course, the stork, could be a baby, like the family grows, or an addition to the family, which could be a pet too. It doesn't necessarily have to be a little bubba, but like it's a little bubba of some sort that can come through the stork. But all in all, I see it as that sort of transition and things developing. I did read that it might develop, but not in the way that you expected to, which is an interesting way of looking at things. So that's in a nutshell. And dog is friendship, loyalty, a friend themselves, somebody who is stable, reliable, faithful. There's like closeness and in a relationship. Someone who is actually watching out for you, and someone who will lead you the way, or perhaps you are being guided by the dog. I think that's it. And oh, I've done it again. This is turning into a comedy. Okay, and the question for today is, how do you approach new friendships? Are you guarded, or is everyone your best friend? What are you looking for out of a friendship? Another really good question. I would say these days I'm a little guarded, especially if you compare the person I am today to the person I was years ago. And I lived in a very different world, and there were many people around, and I had many friends and associates and colleagues, but we were all very friendly. It was very much like a community kind of feel, and it was absolutely wonderful in every which way. However, as time went on, I became a little more attracted to the hermit card in the tarot, and I really do love my solitude, and I prefer smaller groups of people, smaller venues, and a far quieter lifestyle. And I think that's where the guarded thing comes into it as well. As far as the question goes, is everyone your best friend? Absolutely not, no. And there's no point in having people in your life if they're not right for you. And I think you're kidding yourself anyway. But I will say I certainly have always been a very open, friendly person, and I don't see that changing. So I'm really open to meeting new people. I wouldn't ever dream of just shutting someone out, especially when you first meet them, unless there's something very, very obviously wrong. But I believe in giving everybody a chance, and I think that comes from times in the past where I'm just being my friendly self, and I think I was terribly misunderstood by people. And this is just in a social conversational
situation. And the irony here is, if I'm in a situation where I don't know anyone, I'm actually the opposite. I'm very shy. And that's where I've been misunderstood at parties because, you know, the industry I used to work in, everyone was pretty out there and loud and confident. And I'm confident, but I'm not the party hound. I'm not the person that, you know, gets up there on stage and says, hey, everyone, you know, let's play this game. I would rather just, I like being a part of the crowd, but yeah, it's kind of hard to explain. But anyway, so yeah, if you meet someone and they're a little shy, it doesn't mean that they're never going to come out of their shell. And it's amazing how people presume who you are right from the get-go. So with regards to this question, I think that I would say I am guarded. However, I believe in remaining open-hearted, open to situations, open to meeting people. I think it's a positive way of being in life. And if it gets to the point where you feel this person isn't right for you, well, that's when you have to make the decision to deal with it and or just excuse yourself from the situation. As far as what I'm looking for in a friendship, probably the same thing that most people look for. I mean, you'd like to think that, you know, your friends are loyal and sincere and they love you as much as you love them. And I think understanding is very, very important. Support is very, very important. And everything you're looking for in a friendship, you should be very, very willing without fail to do the same for them, of course. So that's why I think, you know, open communication, understanding, love, respect, integrity, are probably a few really important aspects that I'm just kind of, you know, pulling out of my mind at this very moment in time. But yeah, I think friendships, real friendships, can be far, far away or around the corner. Two of my closest friends ever live in the US, and we just resume, you know, when we see each other, it's as if we do live around the corner. So I think there's that connection is also obviously an essential part, and it's amazing how yeah, you can connect with people on so many different levels. And that's why I feel being open is a really important thing. Otherwise, you're not going to get that connection, or you may miss out on a wonderful connection that could have been. So I think that's about it. Otherwise, I'm just going to go on one of my fantastic Scorpio analysis rambles. And I'm very tired. So I think I should quit while I'm ahead, right? But I did it. I did my leapfrog. Oh my gosh, this has been a long time coming. So I'm going to say good night, goodbye, farewell, thank you. Have a wonderful day or eve, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.